What is up, dudes? Also, lady dudes, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, people, today, we got a whole new volley of, what is this, Legendary Duelist Magical Hero reveals. We got one card from all of our main protagonists outside of Yusaku, of course. So we have a Perform Pal card, a Gagaga, Zubaba, Dododo, whatever card, a Synchro card, a Hero card, and a Dark Magician card. All cool stuff. Let's get into them one by one and start knocking these out. So first we have Performapal Pop Up, a normal spell card that can only be activated one per turn, and for good reason. This card is kind of insane. So you can send up to 3 cards from your hand to the graveyard as cost. Then you draw that many cards. Then, if you have 2 cards in your pendulum zones, you can special summon Performapal monsters, Magician Pendulum monsters, and or Odd Eyes monsters from your hand with different names and levels between between the pendulum scales of the cards in your pendulum zones up to number of cards you drew. If you do not special summon, you lose 1,000 life points for each card in your hand. So there's a lot going on here. Pretty much you're going to send up to 3 cards from your hand to the graveyard. You'll draw the same amount. Then you check your pendulum scales, and you can special summon up to the number you discarded or sent, up to that number, as long as they are Perform Pals, Magicians, or Odd Eyes monsters that fit in your scales and have different names and levels. I know it sounds like a lot, but it just lets you drop multiple monsters on the board. As long as you drop scales and you activate this, you should be able to get materials to make an Electromite without possibly your normal summon, without possibly pendulum summoning at all, and then set yourself up for a really strong play when your real pendulum summon comes around. This card is super ashable. Like, you probably lose the duel if this gets ashed. You don't even get to send anything to your extra deck. They get sent specifically to the graveyard, so I believe they have to go to the graveyard, even in pendulum monsters. So when you do that and you do get ashed, you just lost. It was a 4-for-1 for your opponent, so they probably win the duel. But it is kind of insane. It's almost like a pseudo pendulum summon, almost like a pseudo secondary pendulum summon, which is pretty strong, but interesting. I think I would call it more interesting. I'm not sure if this is actually straight up playable. Maybe it is. Maybe if it's searchable, then that makes it better. But it's definitely strong. Definitely strong. I'm just not sure how worth it is, because if it does get ashed, you probably just lose. But we'll see. Next up here, we have Zubaba Bancho Gagaga Coat. Okay, that's a lot. He's a level 4 Earth Warrior, 1800 attack, 1000 defense. He is rotoable, so if he's that good. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. First effect, if you control a Zubaba or Gagaga monster except for himself, you can special summon him from your hand. Okay, gets on the field pretty easily. I like that, especially since this is like an XYZ spam deck. Second effect, you can target one Go or Dododo monster in your graveyard as cost. Special summon it for the rest of this turn. You cannot special summon monsters in the extra deck except for XYZ monsters. That's pretty helpful. I mean, he gets himself on board, and then he gets you another monster on board, provided you're able to get one of those into the graveyard. He's a nice extender. I don't think he's... I'm thinking he's not a 3-of, probably? I don't know. I mean, I really don't know, but I want to assume that, and if he is, he's interesting because he does lock you into XYZ monsters when you special a monster back. So it makes me think, like, what's the goal here? Because this deck clearly can have a problem with putting a monster in extra monster zone and then not being able to get out another one. So maybe the other monster is supposed to be a Link, the new Gagaga Magician or Sorcerer, whatever it is supposed to be a Magician. That's a Link monster. It's going to open up zones that you can use cards like him to extend you into one or two more XYZs underneath. That would be pretty cool. And yeah, I think it's a pretty cool card. I really hope this deck becomes better, because this was one of the anime decks that never really had any potential, I think, right? I mean, I didn't play when it was coming out, but I don't believe I've ever heard about it doing anything crazy. Next up, we have Synchro Chase, a new continuous spell card for Yusei Fudo and the Warrior / Synchro Turbo deck. Pretty cool artwork with Junk Synchron and Junk Warrior. You can only activate one, or use the first effect of this card once per turn. The first effect says, if you Synchro Summon a Warrior, Synchron, or Stardust Synchro monster, so that covers a couple of different bases there, you can target one of the materials used for that Synchro Summon that are in your graveyard as cost. Special Summon in defense mode. Okay, great little extender, really helping you climb up with your Synchro Summons. I like that. Second effect, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to the activation of the effects of your Synchro monsters, whose original names include Warrior, Synchron, and or Stardust. That's kind of nuts. I mean, this, like a multi-role-esque effect, just saying your opponent cannot do anything in response to their activated effects. Of course, they can negate the summon, but very few cards actually negate the summon in Yu-Gi-Oh! So once you get them out, your opponent can't really do anything in response to their effects being activated. I don't think... Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I just woke up, so if it sounds like I'm a little slow this morning, that's why. I don't know if they have amazing removal effects, but that's pretty strong, because you just get to remove and they can't respond, can't, tag out if they have an effect like that. They cannot, do anything, really. So it's really, really strong. Nice. I like it. You get it. You pays for itself in one turn with getting that monster back, and then after that, it's just going to make your stuff like unrespondable. Really strong. Next up here, we have GenNext, a quick play spell card for heroes. And you can only activate one card with this card's name once per turn. This is not a hero card. I don't know if hero spells and traps are searchable. I think monsters are very searchable, but not the spells and traps. I don't think this matters too much that it doesn't have hero in the name. Alright, you can only activate one with this card's name once per turn. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, choose one elemental hero, Karibo, or Neospatian monster whose attack is equal to or lower than the difference in your life points between you and your opponent, from your deck or your graveyard, and add it to your hand, or special summon it, but you cannot activate its effects or the effects of cards with the same name this turn. So this card's very interesting to me. Super interesting. You don't have to worry about how many monsters you have on field. All that really matters is how many life points you have. Where this kind of becomes iffy, I guess this is I don't know. Even if this is going second deck, your opponent's probably not dealing you damage turn one, right? So how does this come into play? You're not going to be able to activate this most turn ones unless you open it with a hero lives. That's the only card, I believe, in the hero archetype that makes you pay your own life points, unless there's something else that I'm missing. So it's pretty interesting. I think it's cool. I'm just not sure if it's good enough. I mean, it makes me want to play Upstart Goblin in the deck, one for consistency, and two, just so that it would combo with this. If you see them both, you could at least search a hero monster with 1,000 or less attack, right? But I'm really curious, what are the niche uses of this? Because it seems pretty good. I mean, it's either a search or a straight special summon. You cannot activate the effects, but still, that's pretty good nonetheless. And I don't know. I really just have no idea. I don't know if these decks pay life points for anything. I don't think they do. So it just seems awkward that this is the stipulation they decided to do for it. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe they do have ways and I just don't know about them, and it's easier to get off than I think. But whatever. Let me know down below for sure. But it's a quick play, which is really good. Getting a monster on the field quick and easy. It doesn't special summon in defense mode, so it can do some battle phase shenanigans for sure. And yeah, it's just good. It's a good card other than that weird stipulation. Our last card here as far as new support in the Legendary Duelist set is Dark Magic Secrets, a quick effect spell card that lets you select and activate one of these two effects. Fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control in your hand, including at least a Dark Magician or a Dark Magician Girl as fusion material. Okay. Or you can ritual summon a ritual monster from your hand by tributing monsters you control or in your hand, including at least one Dark Magician or a Dark Magician Girl, whose combined levels are greater than or equal to the level of the ritual monster. This is what a lot of people have prayed for. I mean, I saw the first video I posted on the first three new cards for the Dark Magician support in this set. The first comment that happened was we just need an actual searchable fusion spell, because the fusions are solid. We have the Dragon Knight one, and we also have the new one that's actually not too bad. It lets you draw. It has the possibility of disrupting your opponent. It floats really hard. So it's a solid monster altogether. And if you're going first, you're not trying to. This isn't set up an insane board turn one type deck. This is a set up a sticky, annoying board, and when your opponent, even if your opponent breaks through it, hopefully you have the recovery plays, and that's kind of what that monster is pretty good at. So having this searchable is really nice. And yeah, I don't think there's much else to say about that. I mean, I don't think, can this summon the Dragon Knight guy? I don't think so, right? You have to have Eye of Timaeus to summon the Dragon Knight, Dark Magician card. I don't know. Maybe this card works with it. I'm really not too sure. But if it does, it just makes it more utility, right? And then last up here we have Ghost Trick Fairy. This is a new card for Ignition Assault. Not the same set, but I know a lot of people really like Ghost Trick. So it's a fan favorite artwork archetype. A lot of people wish it was better. A lot of people wish it was a little bit faster. But hey, Subtears are a flip deck, and they're good. Why can't Ghost Tricks, do the same thing? Probably because people would just OTK you if you go first, right? I don't know. But they need a lot of support. Who knows? We'll see. But at least for today, we have Ghost Trick Fairy, a new monster. It's a level 2 dark spellcaster with 900 attack, 1000 defense. It cannot be normal summoned unless you control a Ghost Trick monster. This is a classic Ghost Trick stuff here. Once per turn, you can change her to face down defensive position. Okay, nice. Just resetting yourself, reloading yourself. When this card is flipped face up, you can target one Ghost Trick card in your graveyard as cost. Set it to your field, but banish it when it leaves the field. Okay. Then you can change face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position up to the number of face-down cards you control. This card's actually pretty strong, I think. So, first things first, if you don't know how Ghost Tricks work, they just set themselves. You can't normal summon a new one unless you already control one face up, right? So your first ones usually just have to be set, and then you pass, and then you hopefully protect them until your next turn, where you can, flip up and start doing resolving some effects. Links definitely hurt this deck for sure, especially this card. But this card's still pretty good, right? When it's flip face up, you can add a Ghost Trick card in your graveyard and set it back to your field. This is any Ghost Trick card. You can reset a new monster that was maybe outed at some point and sent to the graveyard. You can reset any of the field spells or spells and traps that have been dealt with and into the graveyard. I really like that versatility. I guess it's a recursion card and not a searcher, but I think don't they already have a searcher that kind of works like this? So the recursion kind of is pretty nice actually. But I like the generic, and then it has a Fairy Tale Snow-esque effect at the end, where once it does this, you can then change face up monsters your opponent controls face down up equal to the number of cards you control, up to the number of face down cards you control. Sorry, God, I'm stumbling a lot. That's pretty cool. I mean, listen, Links definitely hurt this card because you can't flip them down. They don't have a defensive position. But if they have a board with a bunch of non-link stuff, you definitely can just flip them down and at least turn their effects off, or at least open the zone for you to be able to make some power plays. But it's a fine card, I think, for the as far relative to the archetype. It's a nice support card. They definitely need a lot more to be truly better, but a legitimate possible deck to be played. But still, it's a cool card. A lot of people are going to be excited to pick this up for if they're an older player that still likes to mess around with like older decks, even if they are slower. That's pretty much it for today, though, guys. A whole new volley, one card for each of the new not new, but for the protagonists in Magical Hero, and then this one cool support card, kind of out of nowhere. Let me know your thoughts down below. I am not a specific connoisseur of any of these decks, so I don't know the ins and outs. Maybe they have more uses than I am privy to, so let me know down below if I missed anything there. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.